truthfully answer me this question. When a Steam summer sale comes along, or maybe you just need to go to the store for some groceries, you buy games, okay? You buy games. Sometimes too many games. I know for me, I used to buy like 5 or 6 games every single time a Steam summer sale came along. And how many of those games did I play? Not very many of them, to be honest. It was almost like, I can't miss out on this opportunity. Even if I play these games later, it'll be worth it. Is it though? With choices so abundant, how is it that you focus your efforts on one single game instead of just playing hundreds of games for 10, 20 minutes? I knew this was an issue for me, for the enjoyment of gaming, so I made a decision. For every game that I wanted to buy from now on, I had to beat 2 other games. If you've been a subscriber of the Shiroberry channel, the Shiro Nation, this is not a new concept to you. I've made a couple of videos. I think the first really good video that's ever been on my channel, despite having like the worst camera of all time back in those days, I think that it's one of my best videos on my channel, legitimately. But I basically just take you guys through all the games that I beat within that time period, that last year, and just reminisce on how much I've enjoyed them and gotten to experience them a lot closer to the fullest. Now, there are a couple of rules that I've put in place. Nothing that we're going to go over. I'll just throw them up on screen right here. These are the rules. I guess the only one that I should say out loud because it'll play a part in this video later. Bundles. I'm allowed to buy bundles. I'm allowed to buy pretty much anything I want as long as I beat 2 games beforehand. Does that kind of make sense? I don't want my freedoms revoked. Alright, let's hop into the first one. The first game I beat was Journey. Journey's a game I've known about for the longest time. I don't know about you guys, but I remember PewDiePie played it way back in the day, and that's how I originally found out about it. But it is just a beautiful game, and I mean that visually and narratively. Journey is what it sounds like. It is a journey in like its purest form, filled with ups and downs, that constant goal of trying to get to the top of the mountain and putting all that you have into achieving that goal. Sometimes that goal feels unattainable. It feels like you are going to pass out and die right before you reach that goal, but that's all part of the journey process. I think the journey could be used to talk about anything that you work towards. I think this game is beautiful in that way. Kind of reminds me of Gris, another one that I talked about in an earlier year. But yeah, this game's pretty interesting. I think I personally would probably give this one like a high 7. I think that's a good score. Shout out to Hummus. This is Hummus's favorite game, I'm pretty sure. This is a game that, like, if you say this is your favorite game, I respect that. I respect that a lot, okay? The next game is Rainworld. Rainworld is just this beautiful 2D platformer survival game. I love this game for a lot of reasons. I think this game is incredible. One of the best games I played this year. There's a different one that I would say is better. It is certainly in my top 10 games of all time after this year. But I've never played a game that made you feel so much like Prey. You're not quite at the bottom of the food chain. There are still these bugs that you have to dismantle, like learn about, and eat for sustenance. And you can choose to fight your way out of a lot of situations, but almost always it is smarter to hide, to outsmart, to do what Prey would do. So it is like a really difficult platformer, but I think that it's difficult because it integrates platforming and survival so well together. It feels easier than a game like Celeste, obviously, but that is a one-screen platforming game. This is a game where you have to fight just to find somewhere to sleep. And only once you sleep can you respawn in that given area. And even before then, you have to have enough food resources to be able to go into this hibernative state. It's just so good at making you feel so small. I love this world so much. I think it is so beautiful. The art just pays so well to all these landscapes. I think my favorite part of the game is like around the midpoint where you do like the wall and undercling. I think these two are like the highlights of the game for me and just make you feel like such a part of this world. I also really like how all these animals feel like they're in their own ecosystem. I look at something like the electricity bug, and it's just so interesting that it's developed this sort of defense mechanism that makes so much sense. Like if you catch it, you have to hurry and eat it before it shocks you and escapes. I think the jank actually adds a huge element that I love in this game, and that jank in normal games would not ever bring that same sort of feeling. You are this worm creature. It feels like you don't really have full control over it, but sometimes you can build this sort of momentum. You can really take advantage of this weird ass mechanic, but you can also be taken advantage of because of this stupid mechanic. I think that's beautiful, and it shows how unrelenting this world is. This is like the hardest game that I've beaten in recent memory, to be completely honest. So it really makes you like want it so bad, and when you get that ending, it is so fucking weird. If you know what I'm saying, like the ending is unlike anything I've really experienced in a game. Given everything, I'm gonna give it a 9. Very high score. Very deserved high score though. Game is fantastic. Alright, so I have 2 games now. Look, we have a little animation, okay? Our beautiful artist that you guys might know from some of my other videos, Cosmo. We got Journey, we got Rainworld. And together, they combine to make Inscryption. So after buying Inscryption with my 2 games beaten, I also beat Inscryption. Okay, so Inscryption is actually my game of the year. I guess that's kind of a weird way to put it. It's the game that I beat that I liked the most this year. This game is this like hyper stylized deck building game that's kind of like legitimately spooky. You feel so under the control of this person that you're playing cards with, and I'm not sure why so many people steer away from talking about this game like there's some huge spoiler. It's just simply an AR. Alright, next is Lethal League Blaze. This is a great party game, great like physics game. It actually feels so great to play this. I remember my high school experience was a lot of playing Lethal League, the original. And when Lethal League Blaze came out, all of my friends hopped on that. I think one of my friends was like top 5 in the world for a while. But yeah, I played a lot of this when it first came out, and then honestly didn't play a lot of it since then. Sometimes if I go to my friends' like parties or whatever, then they'll have it on their Xbox or some shit like that, and I'll definitely play a couple rounds. But I kind of just loaded up the story mode so that I could get a new game. It's a good game, and it does what it's supposed to really well. I would give this a low 7. Alright, 2 more games completed. Built together to buy Guilty Gear Strive. You guys know, if I buy a fighting game, almost never is it actually going to get beaten. It's just so I can play with my friends. So yeah, I did not beat Guilty Gear Strive, but what I did beat, Pokemon Platinum. Okay, so I wanted to revisit this game. I played it when I was younger, but I never actually beat it. So I wanted to revisit it and give it that full effort, complete it to its fullest, because this is my least favorite Pokemon generation. Did that change? I think so. I think it probably beats Sun and Moon now, but it is still the worst generation for Pokemon designs, in my opinion. The legendaries are actually really great, especially Giratina. This playthrough gave me like a new respect for that Pokemon. He really just be holding our whole like galaxy together. I also like, Darkrai, Palkia, the whole gang. All the Regis, I think that's this generation. It might be Gen 3. I don't remember. But I made a list of every Pokemon that I would add to my Pokemon team, just because I don't know if how you guys play Pokemon. I play it where I just go purely off design, purely off of how much I like the Pokemon. So these are the ones that I would want on my team. Here's the ones that I ended up beating the game with. I love them all. I'm gonna be honest. I think that there's a lot of shitty Pokemon, but the ones that I like, Toxicroak, Croagunk, 2 of my favorite Pokemon of all time, straight up. But just some fundy things that I think I want to compare to like some of the newer Pokemon generations, because that's what I've been playing for the last like 10 years. EXP share does not exist. I love that. I love that. I'm playing newer generations now where I'm turning off EXP share because of how much I liked it in this game. It makes you feel like you have such a better connection with these Pokemon. You feel like you're really like raising them up to be great fighters and stuff like that, instead of just tucking them into the back of your party and waiting for the better Pokemon to raise up their levels and stuff like that. Also, TM assistance. Using a Pokemon solely for TMs is so lame and outdated, and I'm so glad they changed that so much. But going back to these older games, it is quite jarring. I remember I had to get like 3 or 4 Pokemon just for TM usages because Bidoof couldn't hold all the fucking TMs that I needed. I had to use my starter, which I'm going to talk about something about the starter in just a second. Bidoof, some sort of flying Pokemon, all sorts of stuff. Okay, now let's talk about those starters. Worst generation for starters, period. I do not like a single one of the starters' final evolutions at all. Kind of like Piplup. That's it. All 9 of those Pokemon I do not like, except for Piplup. So, 8. All 8 of those Pokemon. This is the only generation of Pokemon where I don't end up beating the game with one of the starters in my team. But hey, at least I can use Surf now. Okay, so I have here in my notes that the spinal pillar moment was very cool and worth it. Oh, also, to celebrate my win of this Pokemon game, I decided to buy something. I'll show you. Look at him. Isn't he the cutest? So cute. This guy was my carry for almost the entire team until like the final couple hours of the game. But yeah, it is a mainline Pokemon game, and I think I just love mainline Pokemon games despite all the shit that it gets. It's always enjoyable. I just love having these Pokemon that I can raise up to be in my team and we can conquer the world together. I love that. I gave it an 8. So yeah, like my second lowest scored Pokemon game, still an 8. All right, next. Spooky's House of Jumpscares. I don't know if this is a common thing. This game actually scares me. Like, to think about some of the ways that you die in this game still sort of keep me a little bit anxious going to bed at night. I don't know if that's just me. But this game essentially just works as going through doors, trying to get to the other side of rooms. That's basically it. You're supposed to kind of move through it really quickly, and then there's certain puzzle levels where you learn more about like these extra little demons or ghost things. I think some of them are really good and some of them aren't as good. What comes to mind is like the McDonald's was not very good, the fast food place, whatever that was. The mermaid one was super good. Oh, and the one where you have to hide from the dude with the axe, that one is fantastic. It seems to be like super inspired by creepypasta and like online sort of horror, which I appreciate so much. And at the end of the game, you get a boss battle. I really liked this boss battle. I feel like we could have used more of that within the game itself. Either cut out or figure out how to implement boss battles into those puzzle zones. I think that would have been really interesting. I don't know if they're called puzzle zones, maybe just like special zones. They weren't really puzzles, it was more just the same sort of exploration, but themed around a certain thing. But yeah, an enjoyable like 6.5 to 7 out of 10. All right, with those 2 games beat, we get Master Chief Halo Master Chief collection thing. It's like all the Halo games on Steam, besides like the newest ones. And with that, I beat Halo Combat Evolved. So something about me, when I'm playing an old game, I like to feel like I'm playing an old game. I personally don't like the whole like restoring of graphics type thing. And when you play this on the Master Chief Collection, it like auto chooses the updated graphics. I think that's a terrible idea. Just let me play with the old graphics. I figured out how to toggle it back to the old graphics eventually, but I think that should just be how it is regular. Is that just me? I don't know. But I think that it shows itself to be an old game in a lot of ways. The sort of labyrinthy, samey sort of back corridors that you have to go through for a lot of the game, especially indoors. It feels very samey, besides like when you get to the flood indoors, which I love that part of the game. Probably my favorite part of the Combat Evolved, to be honest. But the outdoor sections are actually beautiful, even with the old graphics. I think that there's such a charm to these old games. Just let the graphics fucking shine, baby. While this game is charming, it felt like kind of a chore to get through a lot of times, mostly because of these inside sections. What really kept me going was when we went outside those couple of times and the flood sections, but besides that, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm gonna give it a 5. Halo 2 was the next game I beat. Ginormous upgrade. Huge. I don't think I ever played Halo 2 growing up. I played a lot of Halo 3 growing up, but Halo 2 was not ever something I dived into. This game is incredible. I can't believe how long I went without playing this game. It seriously feels like you're playing two sides of an actual war. It feels so engaging, so full of character, something that I think the first game was missing quite a bit. I also think that the music in this game is absolutely incredible. Yeah, okay, that's a 9. A very easy 9 to give. With these 2 Halo games beat, I bought Disc Room. Disc Room is this top-down, avoid getting killed game. You basically just step into this room, spikes fly around, you have to learn the patterns and avoid them for as long as possible. This is the type of game that is sort of achievement bait. I really like those sorts of games. That's why I bought this, is to try to get as many achievements as I possibly could. Did I 100% it? No. I think I will though. I think I will come back to this game and 100% it. The base game took me like 4 to 5 hours, I think. I'm not sure what the average gamer puts into this sort of thing, but it was so enjoyable, so fun, full of color, full of personality, and so responsive. Big recommend. Let's see what I scored it. Oh, I did not score it. What would I score Disc Room, guys? Probably like around what Journey is, like a high 7. Next game is PayDay 2. This has been a very long time coming. It was hard for me to decide when this game was beaten because there's so many different storylines. It seems like the content train just continued to roll on forever. And when I say that this game is like full of content, I seriously mean that. I think I could play this game for thousands and thousands of hours and still have more to do. This game has a shit ton of achievements, by far the most achievements of anything in my library, but I love the achievements also. It is such a dopamine kick to finish a level on a high difficulty and just see all these achievements rush by because you completed it in like 17 different difficulties. This game is weird because it has this many difficulties. I'm just gonna put it on screen. The progression in this game is so fucking satisfying. I love the prestige concept. A lot of games do this, but I think that PayDay does it particularly well. And I love that with each level you beat, you can sort of build upon your character with different perks and different skill sets and everything like that. It feels like you can play this game in any way that you want to, in so many different ideas. You could make a melee build, you can make a fucking slingshot build. I don't know if slingshot's a thing, but I don't know. There's a lot of builds. A build where you drink alcohol, that's a thing in this game. A build where you self-damage so that you can run through a shit ton of people and just cap everybody on your way out. I just love that game so much. I'm just thinking about all the time, all the memories I have from high school. PayDay 2 was the reason I bought a regular PC instead of a Mac, which I used to have. I wanted to play this game so bad, and I ended up just grinding out for hours and hours and hours with my friends in high school, and it was so fun. I want to play it right now. That's how much I like it. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, I fucking love that game. But yeah, I beat 2 games, combined them, and I bought PayDay 3. I want to talk about PayDay 3 for a second because I'm not going to beat it for a very long time, considering PayDay 2, I only felt like I could beat it once PayDay 3 came out because I knew that content train was finally over and I could beat every single one of those levels. By the way, those missions, I would estimate maybe like 2 hours per mission, and there's this many missions. A lot. Or heists, I guess they're called heists. I said in my notes that I'm gonna make a tier list, so if I end up wanting to do that, I'll put it right here. But yeah, PayDay 2 is a 9. I should also comment, I love the masks. I love the idea of them being clowns. Just to like literally mock the cops that they're fucking killing in the streets. Great concept for a game. Great execution. I hope PayDay 3 ends up being better. Right now, Payday 3 is not doing so hot. I still enjoy playing it, but it just feels so lifeless. Feels like they stripped out all the character that made Payday 2 fantastic. And I just hope it gets a lot better. Subscribe to Shiroberry. To support small creators, subscribe. To support small subscribers, subscribers. To support small creators, you will subscribe to Shiroberry. Right now, you will subscribe to Shiroberry because you owe it to him. You owe a subscription to Shiroberry. Leave a comment about what your favorite game was from the video in detail. I want 3 sentences minimum about your favorite game that I talked about today. Okay, bye.